Today I have a larger canvas. This is a 30 by 40 centimeter canvas. I have some primary yellow, primary red, ultramarine blue, titanium white and phthalo blue. I have a jar of water and a spray bottle. These are flat tools that I use to create the flowers and the blooms with. Also to add, I have a palette knife with a rounded edge, small long flat brush, a small filbert brush. Now today's going to be a little bit something different. We're going to be leaving the canvas mostly white, so we're going to have a lot of negative space and we're going to be creating these bright blooms that kind of stand and pop off the canvas. On my palette I put quite a lot of paint so that I can grab easily the canvas as and when I need it. I'm going to very lightly spritz my canvas, but I don't need my canvas to be super wet because we're not applying a base layer today, we're going straight in with the blooms. I'm going to grab my curved edge and I'm going to grab any of the colors that I fancy. So I think I'm going to start with some blue onto my palette, then maybe some primary red, then maybe some white, and then maybe some phthalo blue. So we kind of have all of these little colors on there, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start and I'm going to drag my palette knife down like so, and I'm going to go ahead and grab that color again, and I'm just going to be creating these blooms in a very following kind of a petal's shape. You can kind of go over it again. There's no perfect way to do this. Sometimes I'm just going small, sometimes I'm going large. Then I'm going to grab that pink, or that primary red, and I'm going to swoop it down like so, and I'm going to grab some white and I'm just going towards the edge of it. You can create these really beautiful, interesting strokes with a palette knife because it's very organic. I'm just taking some white and I'm adding that around the canvas, just to not make the whole canvas basically be empty. This is purely experimental. I just wanted to try and create blooms on a canvas in a fun way that you can do if you want to just relax and not worry about creating something with a lot of layers and worrying about it looking perfect. Now, another thing to do is just to turn your canvas around so that you can get a different orientation. So now my canvas, we're not going to be having it this way, but now at least when I'm angling with my brush, it's going to be going in a sort of different direction. So you can kind of just go over the top with the white. And create these different these little scalloped petals everywhere. This you can, so if you have a colour in your room that you really like and you want to, you can make this any colour that you want. Okay, now I'm going to swap out and go in with my palette knife, and I'm going to grab some of that phthalo blue and some of that phthalo and some of the titanium white, and I'm going to go ahead and create these smaller these smaller blooms around. I'm just grabbing white every time onto my palette knife. This is just we're playing around with textures and shapes to give off the impression of flowers without creating these perfect shapes. And the more messy and organic it's going to look, the more messy it is, the better off it's going to look. I've lost my words. The messier it is going to come across and just kind of create these swirly shapes. Kind of create these okay, now I'm going to flip the canvas back around so we can kind of see what we've created. And I'm going to go on top and add some phthalo blue to connect the colors together. So that the canvas, so we've got the other colors coming through, but we want the phthalo blue to kind of stand out and connect the other flowers together. Okay, now we're going to go in and create these centers. So for these centers, I'm going to take some, I'm going to use my other palette knife, flat palette knife, and I'm going to take some of the titanium white, and then I'm going to grab some of that yellow, and I'm going to just kind of very gently put it into the middle like so. You can come back in. We're using a lot of paint to add that texture. And that's really going to bring the flowers to life. Okay. You can kind of add some little yellow pieces around. Right, I really like how that's looking so far. Then grabbing my filbert brush, I'm going to take the primary red and I'm just going to add small tiny petals. I'm just going to dot these around. Now you kind of have these petals that are floating around, and then grabbing my ultramarine blue and some white. I'm going to do the same that I kind of did with the pink and the filbert brush. I'm just going to go in and create I'm just dragging that across. And I'm just putting those everywhere where I want some more contrast and darkness. Okay. I think I'm just going to take a bit of that phthalo blue and I'm going to run it through this flower here just to contrast it slightly. Okay. I think what we're going to do, let's add another one. We're going to go in with the phthalo blue and create another similar flower that we did maybe another one here. Can go over as well. Just to add I'm going around in circular shapes, and then I have some white left over on my palette knife. I'm going to grab that and run it through. And these are the final results. I really hope you enjoyed today's tutorial on these fun and easy semi-abstract blooms. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and make sure you have your notifications turned on, and I'll see you in the next video.